Greetings, I present to you the SMK, the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope, on CFRU 93.3 FM in Guelph, Ontario, through the web on CFRU.ca, and syndicating across Canada. I am your guardian overseer, Nicholas Cooper. We will be looking inward and beyond along the branches of progressive, fusion, and alternative genres, an anomaly of stark, smooth dualism, and other unique discoveries near and far. Join me as we gaze into the audible lens out at the diverse musical landscape on the ever-changing horizon. All right. Welcome, my good sentries, to an audience far from the Observational Tower, the interview series I conduct here on the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope through remote connections in this time of COVID-19 pandemic. I'm joined here by these lovely hardcore guys. The Toronto progressive metal band Devouring Saturn. Hey guys, would you like to introduce yourselves and the parts you play in the band?
My name is Robbie. I play kazoo. No, just kidding. I play guitar.
My name is Nomi. I play guitars as well.
My name is Guilherme, which is a really weird name, I know, so call me G if you want. And I play the drums.
Awesome. I don't know if there has ever been like a kazoo in metal before. You would be the first. I know.
We're looking at him.
Awesome. And yes, it's been actually, I've known you, Nomi, and Robbie for quite a few years. And it's very nice now to meet you, G.
Oh, nice to meet you too, man.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great, actually.
We're fine. Pandemic, but, you know.
Yeah. Excited to be here.
Yeah.
I know Robbie was teaching this morning, but he's super stoked to be here.
Has the teaching been doing
How about
well
you?
during the pandemic?
Yeah, I'm thankful that there's still some people that want to do online lessons, because of course no one wants to really do the in-person lessons as much anymore, right? Due to obvious circumstances. But I've still managed to retain somewhat of a student base, which is good for me. No ice cube sandwiches for dinner, so it's all good.
How have you been doing?
I have been doing quite all right, getting by, surviving, doing lots of radio, listening to lots of music, rocking on.
Yeah. Listening to our music?
Oh, yes, I have. Well, speaking of which, before I continue on, I want to congratulate you guys on the release of your first full-length album, Fortis Rebis.
Thank you.
That's where we insert clapping.
Like, woo!
Yeah.
No, it's a great feeling, and thank you.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll put that in post.
Yeah, let's do that.
So before we get into the thick of it, I want to put in these little funny questions. I don't know if you guys are fans of Monty Python.
A little bit, yeah.
So
the whole and all that stuff.
Yeah. So what are your guys' current quests, and what are your favorite colors?
Robbie, do you want to say?
Black.
Oh.
Current quests, like as a musician?
Sure, or overall.
Life quest.
Life.
Yeah.
Quest to find the finest coffee bean. And the black of black color. There, that's my quest.
Well, I think for me personally, my biggest quest would be just to, chase my passions, and music is a big one of them. And I know it drives all of us, and it sort of brought us together and brings the whole music and prog metal community together. So that's one of my big quests. And I guess my favorite color would be blue. Over to
yeah, actually, I kind of shared the same quest as you and the same color. But yeah, Miami. So yeah, it's funny because before I met these guys, I came to Canada. So I'm from Brazil, actually. I was born and raised in São Paulo. And I came here. I was like, you know what, man, I'm just not gonna play drums anymore. This, it's not working. So I used to play in a band there for like 10 years, and I was like, not for me. It's just too hard or something. But then these guys came through. Like you came across like my profiles, right? In bandmates or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give a try on that. And yeah, I guess that's my new quest now to make the best of everything that's been happening right now, and making this band like as best as possible. So yeah,
that is a huge like thing for you, G. Like that's some life changing.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. Yeah, it's crazy.
G's had quite the journey, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for those answers. As you can see, for I guess our listeners, radio listeners can't see, but I came dressed for the occasion. My only pretty much black metal attire I can find for this. Yeah, for you guys. Yeah.
Well, I think you're doing very, very well.
Well, they're out of the band because they like blue. So
not just blue.
I mean, we dress in black, but we like different colors.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Black on the outside, but radiant inside.
Yes, exactly.
There we go.
The shell is black, but inside is brown.
Awesome. So let us go into our our usual segment of the COVID-19 check-in. How are you guys handling the pandemic?
Well, it's been different. I mean, you can't like touch anything, like door handles and stuff like that. You have to, every time I touch a door handle, I'm just like, well, hopefully I don't die after this. So there's been a lot of changes. I feel like a lot of people during this pandemic have had time to go inwards and kind of think about things that, matter most to them, because there's always that hustle and bustle of, capitalism and going to and from work. Not a lot of people have time to think, So I think because people have been like locked down and everything like that, there's some good in that too. There's a duality in that.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Sorry, like an introspective, like being able to see things a little clearly without the hustle and bustle. Yeah,
because it's always, there's just so much back and forth to work. People haven't had time to sit there and think about what life is really about, That's just me. That and door handles.
Well, I will go beyond the door handle and
beyond the door handle.
Beyond the door handle.
An autobiography.
Yeah, post. So, I mean, it's been very life-changing, that's for sure. For myself, I like being outdoors. I like being social, and especially from a musician's perspective, it has had its limitations in terms of us playing live music and going to venues, even going to shows together. It's been very different, Those are all bonding scenarios for us. So, and then when we play live shows, that's a very good opportunity for us to connect with our fans. And this album that we've been working towards, like we really wanted to launch it with a release show. And we were really gearing towards it. We all had plans for 2020 in terms of that. And even though, those didn't work out and it sort of closed that avenue for us, I do find that the three of us, it gave us an opportunity to get really close to each other. And internally, we've bonded at a different level. We've understood each other's problems and issues. We've understood how we all work at a very in-depth level. We've sort of been creative in terms of our writing, recording, mastering, mixing processes. And staying indoors can drive you nuts alone. And staying indoor with like 3 people in a room working together, that's a whole other level as well. I know G has done an incredible job in terms of mixing and mastering. And, the two of us have driven him nuts, being the 2 guitar players on one side each.
Hey, G, that drum? Okay, so when we try to explain drums, this is the worst thing of life. We're like, Nomi and I would be like, okay, that drum fill that goes in the China end with the China end, and he'll just be like, could you guys shut the drum? Like,
I'm like, bro.
Gee,
But it's funny. It's funny. Like it's been like a learning curve for everyone, I guess.
Yeah. And I think that's my biggest outcome from all of this is that, it's really shown us how close we all are to each other. And, we'll have our on days or off days, but, it's so worth it for those on days. Because as you'll hear on this album, there's some incredible stuff that we've come up. So for me, the whole pandemic, like I would sum it up, like every other avenue was closed, but Devouring Saturn was the one place that, really felt like home and kept me going. It was, kept us excited, kept us out of that, mind cage that people get into in these depressing times.
I had the bravery to open doors again because of this, because I had to go outside to record.
Yeah.
So I was going to touch that door handle.
Yeah. How's it been for you?
Man, it's different. I don't know. Like, it's not just being like indoors or outdoors, but for me, it goes a little bit beyond that. It's just I'm for sure at this point that if I wasn't doing like things for DS or, like recording these guys and like mixing and mastering and everything, I would be nuts at this point. Like, I would be like wanting to kill myself, to be honest. So it's been like, I've been learning a lot of myself lately, like, like internal things, like problems and like how to solve things differently. But DS for sure, like it was something that it helped me get through like everything, So I'm like really happy to, join these guys here, and we're together for like almost 2 years now, I guess.
Yeah, man, it's been over 2 years now.
Over 2 years, yeah. So yeah, it's always been funny, man. Like it was been fun. It was fun, like when we were playing shows and everything, studio, like mixing, mastering, everything was pretty cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I can really relate to a lot of what you guys are saying. Like, music concerts have been, like, the last few years, the most social I usually get, and like get to meet friends in there. And like, I thought I was like really introverted, but like this pandemic has showed that I need to like be around people. And yeah, then also putting all your energy into the band at this time, like that's a thing to like really focus on and put your passion in when like you can't really do a whole lot. A whole lot at this time.
It's funny because I think the band in itself is kind of like an anchor point for, it kind of stands for getting through hard times, the band name itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the fact that we've done so much in this hard time is just a testament to that. Like, that makes sense.
I agree. It's really been a propulsion of everything and connectedness.
Yeah, being able to overcome all the adversities that have come through this pandemic. That you can do like anything, pretty much.
Yeah, we've had it massively.
And even like I really think we've learned like how to really make use of all the time we have. You know what I mean? Because of the, lockdowns and the only times we can get together and stuff like that, we've really, like, when we meet, we crush it. Like, we do what we have to do and then some every time, right? So,
yeah, that's great. Yeah, I was wondering, like, because you guys are a three-piece, has there been any struggle to, like, work together? Like, when, like, lockdowns come, or if you guys have your own social circles, has there been an issue?
I don't think it has been an issue. If anything, I think being a three-piece has made it more streamlined for us. And, it's one of those things where when there's less amount of cooks in the kitchen, things just, you spill less things and you work harder and you work together. And in terms of recording and production and the ideas we've all come up with, we've always been open to that when it comes to each other. So I think, I don't think the lockdown created any scenarios where we were like, oh, what are we going to do now? If
yeah,
anything,
we always have something to do. Right?
Yeah. We've always come up with really good ideas to get around obstacles. I mean, all of us. It's not just one head that you see when it comes to DS. It's all of us, and it's all our ideas combined. It's all our hard work. It's funny, like, we're almost like this entity with 3 brains that work simultaneously together.
Oh, that's great. Like, I guess that's really hard for bands to have, like, that synchronicity with each other.
Yep.
Or has there been, like, I guess either as a whole band or individually, has there been any strategies to remedy any stress, anxiety, or just boost morale at this time or this past year?
You know them.
I'm gonna start with you.
Oh man. So yeah, no, it's like anxiety. It's something that I have to deal with that shit, like every single day, man. Like I cannot stop like working. Like sometimes I work for this other company as well, and like sometimes I'm working on the weekends. You know, like I work as an application developer as well, and like sometimes I'm just I don't know, man. It's something that I cannot stay put. Just like, hey, let's relax. No, there's nothing like that. You know, let's do something. And then there's the like going through all, like, especially like mixing process, right? Like, man, it took like a long time, you know, like figure out all the the sounds and like frequencies and everything. So that took a long time. So this helped me a lot with my anxiety. So yeah, I don't know for you guys, but like for me, it helped a lot.
I think it's just overall been a really positive outlet. You know, for in any way, if you're having a bad day, like, you know, I feel like DS is a place where you can come and you can kind of offlet that energy in a creative and productive, you know, way.
Yeah, I think definitely staying busy with the project and my day job, between the two of them, it sort of just kept my mind going at full blast. And it comes to the point where, you don't really feel anxious because we've been in a very reactive mode the whole time. Like, we're really base jumping from work to like lunch to like the music to like dinner to like back to the music to back to the next day, planning for the next weekend, planning for our launch, coming up with a plan for the launch, planning for assets, working on the animated videos, the images, promotion. It's just like, we've been base jumping from one thing to the other, so really there hasn't been much time to feel anxious.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, having all the tasks and like having that plan does, I think, really help. Like, I know for experience, having the tasks or having all the things you need to do like written somewhere will help clear your mind.
Yeah.
It's like the constant march towards the void. No, we've got mixing to do. Okay, we're gonna be good.
And we all push each other in a very positive way, which is awesome, because one of us, it's bound to happen where one of us is having an off day, and sort of we're always there to like boost the other guy.
Yeah, that's great. You're able to really support each other.
Yeah, and I mean, we're a very self-contained band, so I think we try to do almost like we've done 80% of the stuff ourselves. We've outsourced some artwork here and there, and then the animations. The two guys we've kind of been mentioning on social media as well. Besides that, everything has been self-contained.
Really indie.
Indie progressive metal. That's something new.
That's a whole new subgenre that no one cares about.
For this year, have you discovered any new hobbies or skills?
No.
It's a good question.
New hobbies or skills? I learned the kazoo. No, just kidding.
For me, I learned like how to fix things in my apartment. That's all. Other than that,
Yeah, I
being
think I've gotten a
hands-on.
little bit skilled. Yeah, I've gotten a little bit skilled with yard work, which I'm not used to doing. I know it's a skill, and so that's been, when you're kind of in this situation, you do little projects around the house, kind of thing. But I do think like one thing that I haven't dived into before is just recording audio and video, and that's some things I feel like I've learned more about and I've gotten better about. I've learned a lot from these two guys in terms of audio recordings and stuff. They're really good at it. And just watching Guilherme work on a DAW, it's just insane how effortless it is for him. So I mean, it's really been inspiring for me. I do little tweaks here and there,
like
nothing at his level.
And I'm just like, wow, the song is perfect now. I don't know how you work that.
He's got some black magic going on there. That
we don't ask questions. We don't ask questions. We just
yeah. So I think that's a skill I've definitely picked up on marginally, but it's been good.
Yeah, I've been actually trying learning more about mixing because I've been releasing my own music this past year as well. And I know I still have like lots to learn, but I think I've gotten a good step in understanding right now.
Nice.
So why don't we now get into the band itself? How did you all get connected with one another?
So
guys, go for it.
there's this really bad, outdated website called Bandmix. I don't know if you've heard of it. And I was looking for members and stuff like that, and I saw this guy. I was gonna, and we started chatting, blah blah blah. And then what was it? He's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Where do you live?" He's like, "Oh, I live here." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "That's down the street."
Oh.
And so he's like, every time you'd come jam, it'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna come over." He'd be like, "Ding dong!" right after pushing like the message, because he lives so close, right? There was no transit time, right? He could have walked, right? So that's how I met Nomi, and I have been able to get rid of him ever since. No, but yeah, Nomi's a good guy, and yeah, I guess that's how it went.
Yeah. So I mean, we used to have a bass player, and these guys had an ad out on Bandmix. I mean, now at least I can say we had an ad out on Bandmix.
Worst platform ever.
And
but that's how. Okay, we'll go.
Yeah. And I mean, I heard some of the music that was there at the time, and I was like, wow, this sounds like music I like to listen to, and I like to write music like this as well. And I reached out to them, and our previous bass player responded and sort of brought me in, and that was like November of 2015.
Shout out to John Evans.
Yeah, shout out to John Evans here. And then when the time came that we were looking for a formidable drummer, I noticed I went to Bandmix. I'm like, okay,
and there was a shortage.
there's always a shortage, and I found Guilherme's profile on there, and then I saw some of his stuff, and I mean, this guy's a born rock and roll star, man. Like, it's just like all his images and videos is just like crazy. I'm like, wow, how is this guy not in a band? And then I messaged him on Facebook, and I think it was June 12th, 2018. That's when I messaged Guilherme, and he came back to us, and we sort of sent him our little package that we send everyone for, our music, and if they're interested in trying it out. And he was very, very interested. And then we had a little audition jam after some chatting. He liked the music, and ever since then, he's just made our songs even better than where they were before.
Before it was just two guitar players going just trying to outplay each other.
Yeah.
Perpetual.
So I mean, you can equally hear drums as much as you hear guitars on our album, and you'll notice that. Yeah. And I'm sure you've seen it on the single.
And that's something good about G is she's like, you guys play lots of notes. It'd be nice if you took a breath of air once in a while. So this album, G, I think it was something that you were like, you know what, you guys need to calm your down. And how about have a space where we just do nothing? Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, we actually started getting like space on the songs because it was always like, guitars everywhere, like everywhere. But like, it's not that it's a bad thing, but sometimes you need to breathe, right?
It's a bad thing.
Sometimes you need to the listener needs to okay, now let's go to the, whatever, breakdown or something, but just,
Would you like some guitar?
But it was fun. Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Like, I guess, old sites have that magical connection to it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't talk it too much because it helped us find each other. Yeah. But it's one of those websites I think you have to pay for, but no one pays for it. Kind of like Reaper, right? Yeah. But everyone is able to get in contact with each other just by putting spaces in their email. So that's something kind of funny. So it worked out. Thank you, Band Mix.
Yeah, we were able to find gold in a river, basically. That's what Robbie's trying to say. Yeah. We struck gold a couple times.
It's like, what is that when they look for gold in the rivers? And what is that called? What is it? Not panhandling.
No, but
I know what you mean.
yeah, where they go look for diamonds and gold.
That was us.
Yeah.
To be honest, I wasn't even looking for joining a band because like I said, when it came to Canada, I was like, man, you know what? This didn't work for 10 years. Why should I try it again? But then this guy sent me an 8-minute or almost 9-minute song. I was like, okay, this is some sort of challenge. I'm gonna take it. So yeah.
Yeah, what caught you with that recording? What kind of thing sparked for you?
For me, it was something that it was different from everything that I've heard before. It's completely different, and I was actually looking for a prog metal band. Deep down, I was looking for a prog metal band. It's just me, And then when I listened to that, there's a segment of Imperium Birth, right?
Yeah.
That it's man, it's different. I'm not going to tell anything because you have to hear it. I hope you listen to that soon, next Friday, actually. And that part was okay, these guys are serious. And I'm down for the challenge and I'm going to do something for it, so that's pretty much what caught my attention there.
We kidnapped you, basically.
Kind of.
We had a gun and we're like, gee, you will play prog metal. And you'll like it.
Yeah, so I can really tell that you guys really gel together and get you guys really correspond with each other. Was it that easy when you guys really or met up with each other?
I think it was pretty
smooth, yeah.
Pretty easy in the beginning.
Yeah, Nomi and I both had hair when we met. We both had hair. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
No, but I think the three of us, we all click really easy and stupid jokes are plentiful. So
yeah,
it works. It works.
Yeah, I think the one thing we all strive on is we all like being tight when we're playing. We all like being on time. And, we sort of check each other on that as well. And, Robbie and I had been working towards it. And Guilherme as a drummer, he's extremely tight as well. So when we had our first jam, we were just this guy's just on the money. All we had to tell him was this is the tempo of the song. And it was go time after that.
Yeah, that first jam was pretty magic.
Yeah, it's a very memorable jam because it was unbelievable how
the stars aligned.
Yeah, how aligned it was actually. because like most people you bring in the first time, they're a bit nervous and they're like, they may not hit as hard on the drums, or they may hit too hard, or they'll speed up too much, or they'll slow it down.
Or they're drunk.
But we could tell that, or they're drunk or stoned. They don't come prepared. They don't come prepared to contribute to a song. But this guy was just like, we could tell he was ready. Yeah, the moment where he pulls the drumsticks out of his bag, we were like, okay.
It was like a sword.
Yeah. It was like a Kill Bill moment.
Yeah, and Naomi and I just wide-eyed, just like this.
We're like, there's a stick bag? This thing exists?
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, I guess I'll bring this question up because I was going to put it later, because I can really hear it from you guys. Like, I guess overall, why do you guys like play music and create music?
Okay,
we don't know.
Well, let me answer this one first.
Yeah.
So, it's funny because like when I was 7, actually I was 6 when I started playing drums, and I look at this guy playing drums. I was like, okay, like nobody's watching this guy because he's like, like on the back part of the stage, like the guitar players are all, doing everything, like shredding. But something caught my attention there, and like I started like having lessons when I was I don't know, like 8 or something, and then I took like 10 years. Like I was like I was like having lessons for like 10 years and everything, and then it's just like part of me nowadays. It's just like something that I cannot, just put aside. It's impossible. So it's literally part of my DNA to play drums. Sometimes I play guitars, just for fun. Not that I play a lot, but but yeah, like
he's pretty good actually.
No, I'm not.
He is.
He's pretty good.
But yeah, so that's like how I started.
I think for me, it's always been about creativity, and I think when I've grown up as a very introverted child, and so I was never the chatty or talkative person, and so I think I found my own voice in music where I could really express myself, and it just propagated from there. Where at first, like I found it, and I was like, okay, now I have to learn how to use my voice, kind of thing, and just learning to play guitars and everything, and my upbringing, my family, like music was like almost metal music was like very taboo. So for me, it was like another part of me is like I'm sort of rebellious. So those two things combined together, I think that's pretty much why I create and write music, because it's an expression of sort of who I am. It's my way of communicating with the world. And when you find people like Robbie and Guilherme, and it's the same kind of situation from them, where they can really emote and speak through this channel. It's just it helps the overall band, and it helps my passion as well. So that's probably why I write music.
I think I write music because I can't do anything else.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, I'm really good at one thing. Yeah, basically for me, I don't have anything else besides music, really. It's how I pay my rent. It's what I do in the morning when I wake up. It's what I do before I go to work. It's what I do before I go to bed. So for me, it's everything, I've never liked those people that are like, man, music's my life. It's like, well, until you're having Itchy Band soup and Ice Cube sandwiches, shut up. You know what I mean? It's a rough thing, but I'm proud of myself in the sense that I've been able to make it work just from my guitar. Like, it's just my guitar. But with writing, I think as musicians, we're emotionally, what's the word? Unstable people. And it's a way for us to, share with people and outlet negative feelings or outlet good feelings, because music's all about communication and emotion, right? So for me, I write because I need a way to get it out. I need a way to get some kind of weight off of my shoulders. It's like therapy, right? It's cheap therapy. Actually, expensive depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I think it's like when we all write clean parts, it's almost like we're trying to self-soothe ourselves.
Yeah, I've had a bad day.
Yeah, if you have a day and everything, we pick up our instrument and we write something more soothing and stuff. And if we're like pissed off and angry, we write more aggressive stuff. So it's definitely driven with a lot of emotion. Yeah,
and I think that's what all three of us share is like we're all saying the same thing, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Being able to use music as like a voice outlet, like maybe like can't really voice or don't have the proper words to say what you really mean, but music does that for you.
Yeah, don't punch that man on the bus. Play some flat 5 chords and make an angry face.
Yeah.
Everything will be okay.
I think we need like a soundboard for that.
Yeah.
For different situations.
Yeah. The button that was easy. We'll get one of those.
Here's a diminished chord for this scene.
Yeah, how was your day?
So let's talk about metal. I haven't been featuring a whole lot lately, I guess the past year, but I guess in the last few of my recent shows, I've been getting inclined to playing more metal. How did you guys get attracted to metal in the first place? And then second part of that question, why progressive metal of all the other sub-genres?
See?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So metal. Okay, so I was first introduced to metal when I listened to Freak on a Leash by Korn for the first time when I was like just a little child, I guess. And then I was like, man, this is good. Like it was just like right on. I was like, man, this is for me, you know. And then like nowadays, so I listen to different other bands, like, but for me nowadays the best band ever is Slipknot. Like it's always gonna be Slipknot. Like I don't care what people say. But yeah, and I don't know what else. What was the other
What was
question?
the second part?
What was the second part?
Sorry, why progressive metal?
Why
of all
Oh, right,
styles?
progressive. Oh, yeah. So progressive for me is because it's challenging. I love challenges, and you know, I started working like when I started playing drums. I was like when I was like 10 or 11. I have like a few Dream Theater covers on my YouTube channel, and I was like doing like Erotomania. Is that the
Yeah.
name? Yeah. And you know, a few other songs. I'm like, man, I don't even have beard in there. Like, I'm just like, to be honest, if I remove my beard now, I'm just gonna look like I was like, you know, like 10 again. So yeah, it's like the challenging part for like I love challenges. Like that's pretty much it. It sums up everything.
For me, I think I've always liked horror movies, and I always used to see metal covers with skulls and all these graphic content, and
So you want to kill people, though?
and I used and like
You need to listen to Ice
You know
Nine
what's
Kills,
really
bro.
cool? As they're being killed, just
so like I mean I would see something with that label explicit lyrics, and I'm like, yeah, I want to listen to this, and you know, just because of being rebellious. So I think it started kind of from there, and you know, it was all like classic metal stuff in the beginning with like Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and all these kind of all the originals. And then eventually, you know, when I heard more of the prog stuff, you know, starting from Pink Floyd to like Dream Theater to Devin Townsend, some of the Meshuggah stuff and everything. When I started getting into that, I think it's just I think the nerdy aspect in it really kind of makes it more interesting. Because there initially when you hear prog, it's like, oh, there's some catchy elements and then there's some really annoying elements, and then you can't really bang your head the same way the whole time, and you know it messes with you. I think just to like G said, the challenge of it, just to kind of decode what's happening there, and you know to be able to recreate it. I think that's why prog metal. It you can have every emotion in it. You can have like pop stuff in there. You can have metal. You can have dark, light. Kazoo. You know, we've seen people playing trumpets and and all sorts of stuff in prog metal, flutes and all that. So I think that's why prog, because it just you can add a lot of emotion in one song, and it tells a story. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, this is funny because when I first met Nomi, like I had all this stuff written before, you know, random things. I'd be like, hey, Nomi, check this out. And he'd be like, cool, next. But I remember asking you one time, being like, what is this? Like, what genre is it? And you were the first person that told me it's prog metal. And I'm like, okay, I guess it makes sense. So I think for me, the question was, why prog music, prog metal?
Yeah, I like that.
I think for me, it's just what comes out.
Why just metal? Why metal? You know, that's the first question.
That was first question, because it's a.
I think it's a community thing too, right?
I don't know, because I don't really like metalheads that much. Even though I look like one, I don't know. I think it's just because metal is. There's a lot of. how do I say it's super emotional. I mean, if you turn on like what is that WAP song by Nicki Minaj, like there's not as much like of an outlet there. You know what I mean? Compared to like prog metal or metal, it's just there's more happening.
I think it's like Cardi B.
Whatever. You would know, Nomi. I stand corrected. Sorry. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, same thing. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is, for me, progressive metal is just what comes out, and it's probably because what I was listening to, like Opeth and all those progressive bands, they warp your brain a little bit, right? So yeah. It's just about emotion and what you listen to. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
Well, that makes sense. I'm pretty sure Dream Theater was my first like exposure to prog metal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know I got also into Opeth, as you mentioned. Yeah, David Townsend. I'm sure there's a couple others that I forgot off the top of my head. Yeah. So now, how would you guys describe Devouring Saturn's style of prog metal?
Oh, it's really hard. Robbie?
Well, I think, how would I describe the sound? Is that what
yeah.
I think it's about combining light and dark. Like, this is kind of dumb and I say it all the time, but it's like the yin yang symbol. It's like you have the two opposites, but like it's trying to find the center, the gray. So it's like, I like having extremes in either direction, if that makes sense, personally, in music, because there's more dynamic there. I mean, coming back to WAP, whatever that song was, it's like, there's the dynamic. You get this, it's just that, right? Does that make sense? It's kind of like, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. I think our music is very dynamic. And how would I describe it? So instrumental music, writing instrumental music it's not very easy. Trying to make it interesting and catchy and adding all these little elements in there. I do find that there's extremes in it, but for me, there's also a lot of color in there. And For me, Robbie likes extremes. But for me, like it's like that line in the middle, the gray area where the two extremes sort of meet. I'm always like interested in that area, and I think it's sort of like
I'm the nut.
Yeah,
I'm on the outside. Yeah. Robbie's in the center with G. Like Robbie, come back there.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think in between all that, between the extreme and that line in the middle, I think there's a lot of different colors that sort of come out in our music. And to me, I would say our music is colorful and it has a lot of emotion, and it's very personal to it at a certain level. So that's how I would describe our music. And it's even at the shows that we've played, people have come up to us afterwards and they've all sort of experienced the same kind of thing.
How if they just give us money?
Yeah, for the price of $6.99.
You can pay more if you want to.
You can pay more if you want.
Please.
How about you, G? How do you perceive our music? What is it to you? You've played in a lot of different bands.
Yeah, you see, like, first of all, it's completely different. The first thing that it was different, like playing with these guys in the first place, was that they pushed me like really far. They were like, "Hey man, you have to do blast beats here." I was like, "Bro, I don't do blast beats." Like,
and then we got the gun out again.
Like I don't even know how to do that. And like they're like, "No, but this part, just try it." And so like it was always like a huge learning curve for me, and like what the song itself tell things like to people is more like, like there is a you can be like I don't know how to say this, like you can be like on both sides, you can be like, you can go like to light and dark, you can go like everywhere, but you will find yourself in the middle, you know, like you don't have to go too far, you know, you don't have to be extreme.
Yeah.
Just, you know, like here's the point, you know, you don't have to be like that dark. You don't have to be like that,
Yeah.
you know, just God. No, man, just, you know, in between.
Yeah.
So that's
100%.
pretty much like what I think our songs, you know, are about.
And I think Guilherme brings a lot of balance to our music.
Oh, he does. for
Like
sure.
that's one of his key features is like he really brings that balance.
Something else I wanted to add was off what you were saying, where the center and everything like that. I also think, you know, knowing the light and knowing the dark allow you to know the center. Because if everything's light, then you only know one thing.
You just
if
have like one perspective of things, right? Yeah.
like how can you know the center of something if you only know one aspect of it? You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
So this is really, really hard to show to people
Without lyrics.
without lyrics. Like how do you tell people like things just written in instruments? You know, this is like a huge challenge.
Nonverbal communication, just
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, it's a balance. Like, there's that balance between light and dark. It's like it's a natural thing in life, and yeah. So, and then I guess going on now from, because you guys are an instrumental band, why have you chosen not to introduce a vocalist into the band or into your music overall?
That's a good question. No, you go for it. No,
she looks at us.
I'm just gonna swear.
She was like this. That's a good question, guys.
I think in some ways I think the choice was made for us. You know, we didn't choose to say, okay, this is one part of you know, the music or the metal song or the prog metal genre that we don't want. Personally, I think singing to prog is very difficult, and you need to be you need to have either a niche for it, or you need to be a very well trained vocalist to be able to do it. You need to know where to find the right sections to sing, and, you know, sort of just avail those sections and sing with the music. A lot of people, like vocalists we've auditioned, like they're good vocalists in other genres, but when it comes to our music, you know, you can't try and sing on top of it. You have to try and sing with it, and that's one thing not just vocalists but musicians don't learn, is to play together, play with, you know, be in harmony. So I think a lot of vocalists we tried, they didn't really work out, and at the same time, you know, we were like, our music does a lot of the talking, and if we're able to convey a message without vocals, why not, you know, release an instrumental prog metal record? It's not that we're close to the idea. It just worked out really well, and we sort of stuck with it.
I think, you know, if we found a vocalist that meshed with us and we had that right balance, like the three of us have, I'd be fine with a vocalist. But until we find that person, we don't want to push someone to fit into the power of it.
You can't jeopardize, you know, the beauty of a song for the sake of just having vocals.
Yeah, I understand.
It's an important element. It's a very important element. I mean, we all like vocals. We all like singers, and, you know, who doesn't like having that front man up there?
You're gonna sing for us.
This guy sings actually sometimes.
He's a good singer.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do blast beats while screaming.
Yeah. So who knows? You may see Guilherme singing on stage.
That's what a cute right?
Gee, you're gonna need an oxygen thing on stage.
Yeah.
Just
like Ozzy Osbourne. Like,
you heard it here.
It's happening.
Awesome. Or what? So, in what ways do like the instruments like purvey the ideas and like thoughts and like what you want to try and get across in the music?
Probably.
Sorry, what was that?
How do you? He's saying, how do you sort of get your message across with just instruments? I think G's had really some really cool ideas to make these certain parts sing while we're recording.
Yeah, like it's like I said, like it's at least for me, like everything's like an experiment, you know. Like I just tried to do something like many times. We went through like all the entire set, and I was like playing completely different stuff. I was telling them like, don't mind what I'm doing, you know, just like, you know, let me try to do something different. And it's where you actually put some different pieces together, and you can see like the outcome is something that it's, I don't know, it's something magical, you know.
I think the way where our music speaks is a lot of it has to do with contrast.
Yeah.
So we're not like 100%, you know, going full blast beat and heavy and trills and chugs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you won't hear that from like, you know, the first second to the last second of the song.
What do you mean?
I mean, even though
if it was for Robbie, bro, it was gonna be lesbians like forever.
I mean, there have been times where that could have happened.
That's another point.
Yeah, but we use all these, you know, all these different writing styles and methods, and to basically show contrast, and that's how we show like aggression and anger and sadness and, you know, self-reflection and you know, there's sections like dissonant sections in our songs that can show anything from like confusion to anger to disarray. I think we've all have had really good influences, and internally, the way we listen to certain things in our heads when it comes to our own songs, we've come up with some really good ideas to really get that message across musically, and even while in the mixing phase, how to like pull back certain things and add effects to certain things where, you know, it feels like the sound is coming from far away. It kind of perks up your ears, and it gives you these signs of curiosity and fear, and something daunting is about to happen, just creating that suspense. Yeah. So we all like, it's like you're watching a movie without a video. You're just hearing this soundtrack, and I think it automatically makes your mind think about what is happening, and sort of the emotions just come out over there.
Yeah, I think there's never really been a time where we sit down and we're like, you know what? You see that caterpillar over there? We're going to write a song about it, right? And it's going to end really brutal because we'll step up. No, we're never like, I don't think we've ever like sat there and been like, this song's going to be this, it's going to be about this. It's always create now and then think about it later. Like, for example, like I think that goes for all the songs. We always make stuff, and then if there's something going on around us in our lives, we can be like, oh, that's why. Yeah. You know, or does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a constant change, right?
Yeah,
and it's always like, you know, fluctuating, and that's pretty much like the idea, I guess, you know.
Yeah, and like after the fact, once the song's written, once the parts are written, we'll be like, we're gonna name it this because my dog died or something. Yeah. Not really, but you get the idea, right? It's all symbolic and automatic, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like we get on this road and we just don't know where it's going to end. We just know where it starts. That's like pretty much
sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
On a road, on a dark road.
Yeah. But I think it's at the same time, it's something that like it's like channeling you to do something, you know. Yeah. It's something that it's kind of out of your control, but at the same time it is under your control, so you can do something, you know, like create that riff or create that, you know, drum like groove pattern or whatever. It's just something that it runs through you. That's why I say like usually like it's something that it's in your DNA, you know. It's not something that you I don't know. You were born with this, you know. You were born with this feeling that you have to do something, you know, that it's gonna get people's attention, and it's gonna tell them like what you are through a certain sound. You know, you don't really need the lyrics for that, I guess. So that's what we try to do, our best, I guess.
Yeah.
You try and embody all those emotions and feelings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys are heavily influenced by metal and prog metal. Are there any other types and genres of music that you listen to and you bring that into your like performance techniques and composition style?
Favorite kazoo player?
For sure.
I have a couple actually. I think with me personally in music, whatever makes me feel is good music. If that makes sense. So it's not, I don't know, like there's lots of styles of metal that I can't stand. You know, like I'm very specific, I guess.
I think our expression may be prog metal, but our inspiration is not only prog metal.
Yeah, for sure. Like I go, at least myself, like I go from like St. Vincent to Cannibal Corpse, you know.
Yeah.
I go like everywhere. I think it's just like Robbie said, like it's just the music's good. Like, you know, you're always learning with that. So
Yeah, if you vibe with it and it works for you, yeah. I
yeah,
can hear
exactly.
that.
I'm so white in this camera. Look, I look like the sun. We don't need a ring light, you guys. Look, is it making Nomi's face whiter? Wait, how about this? Wait. No?
Oh my god, you don't have an arm.
Wait. No.
It's like a ghost.
Dude, I'm like iridescent.
He's radiating, basically.
Dude, look at that. That's insane. It's crazy. Bugs will be attracted to it at night and stuff.
Why don't we now get into the album Fortis Rebis? I guess it was a span maybe of 2 years since the Of Light of Dark EPs.
Of Dark, yeah.
You wrote I saw on your Bandcamp page that it's a musical synergy and the result of us stretching together through the thick of it and coming out stronger than ever. I'm getting a sense from this, but was this a very important musical creation for you guys to have made together at this time?
I think you're getting the right idea.
Oh, we're getting some head shakes.
Yeah, I mean, for the three of us, this has definitely been a very defining moment.
Yeah.
Not just writing the album or not just recording it, but everything else in terms of the production elements and the amount of research like Guilherme has had to do for the mixing and mastering portions, the amount of plugins we've played around with and discovered that we didn't know, and sort of learning how to use them. And not just guitar plugins for guitar tracking, other plugins for effects, and just really helping us create those textures in our music. It's been a learning curve. At the same time, it's been a big, it's been a testament for all of us. I mean, for me, this is probably the most difficult and inspiring music that I've ever written, and a lot of the inspiration has come in like internally from within the band, just from the ideas that these both guys have had and they've come up with. Like, normally when someone comes up with a tune or an idea, like you're sort of just, you want to sell someone on it, and you just like you're sticking down on it. You're like, no, I'm not gonna change anything from it. But these guys, like when they've come up with certain ideas where it just improves something you've come up with.
Put some reverb on the kazoo.
It's just little things that you don't think about.
A little bit of delay.
It's just like they've improved them, a lot. The whole less is more approach, even though it's really hard to do that with instrumental prog, we've employed it in the right parts. So for me, this was like a pretty big step musically.
Man, I like this for me was like something like completely. It's different from everything that I've done before. It's like the album. I think like when people listen to the album, they're gonna see like what we're trying to explain here, because it's, at least for me, it's kind of hard to put in words what we've accomplished with this album, because I think our ideas really, all the ideas are there, like everything, like this like duality thing, everything is there.
Yeah.
But like Nami said, like I at least like I learned like a lot with everything, like all the thinking about like how to mix things, like the different approaches of mixing and mastering and all of that stuff. Like you listen to like I don't know, a Los Angeles band, it's like something, what the hell? Like how can you do this, if you don't have like we don't really have like all the equipment, like we have like this, it's like a PreSonus like super small interface that we did everything through it, and a computer. That was pretty much it. And I think like everything that we've accomplished was like something that all of us like learned a lot about it. Like this year, like even though like we're in this pandemic, like still like for me it was one of the years that I learned like the most, for sure.
I can sense.
Yeah.
That's for sure. For me, like I think Fortis Rebis was more gray compared to the outside extremes, because I think the of light of dark was just the separation. You know what I mean? It was like, here's some like happy garden in heaven, and here's some like angry, like, whatever stuff.
But meditative and angry and
yeah. So there was that split, but I find that Fortis Rebis was it is what it is. Like it speaks for itself. It's more of the center. I'm sure we can refine the center. That's what good musicians do. They keep moving up. But I think this is the album that, it's the best work I think I've done in my life. And it's without these beautiful gentlemen, it would have not been possible.
Awesome. Yeah. I was able to hear a little bit of those pieces, and I think I can really hear like that gray balance and dynamic, like stretch and like control, I should say. So you did mention a little bit about it, but how was this album composed and recorded? I guess you said it was all like DIY, pretty much.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
You should take this one.
How was it for you recording all of us?
Yeah, you see, it was So when I was in Brazil, like I had a little bit of experience with that. Like I was working, like I had my own studio there for about like 5 or 6 years or something. So I recorded a few bands and everything. But it's one thing that is completely different from there is that like people here, like at least those two guys, they have like the right equipment to do that. So they have like good guitars. So, you have like good input sounds. Like you can do whatever you want, because like even if you screw it up, like it sounds really good. But we didn't do that. Like just saying.
Fresh cables, fresh strings every time.
Yeah, bro. No, how many times we changed strings of the guitars and bass? Dude, oh my god.
Yeah.
Every week insane. For like how many weeks?
Every recording session, new strings.
Yeah, it was crazy. But like at the time, like it just felt right. Like we kind of spent some money with that. Like recording, it wasn't like that easy. Like we have to like send the guitars to like luthiers and everything. Yeah. But yeah, like. I mean, like I was really like when I had my studio in Brazil, I was really like against going with like DIs and everything. I was always like, no, we have to do this like natural and everything. Man, I like natural. Honestly, I do like it. I love like ambience, like the right studio, the right sound, the right cymbals, the right place. That's okay. But at the same time, like we're like in lockdown, so we had to like.
We had to adapt.
Yeah, we had to adapt a lot of stuff. So one thing that for me that I was really like going after, it was to make something that it's not, it's kind of digital in a certain point, I would say, to sound natural. So you can actually listen to our feelings through the natural part. It's not just because it's heavy or it's not heavy, so you're going to listen to lots of different parts of our songs. It's gonna be like super heavy, like blast beats, like Robbie style, and then we're gonna go to just like some heaven thing, You're gonna listen to some super melodic things, reverbs, delays, and everything. Like it's beautiful, but everything, like the entire album had to be adapted to, give people this feeling. So it was like a different experience for me, for sure, to record these guys. But it was worth it.
It was worth every take.
Yeah.
Every take.
And it was a lot, bro. It was a freaking lot. You have no clue, man. It was crazy.
You almost murdered us.
Like honestly, like the first single. No, it was. Yeah, I think it was a single. We had like 200 plus versions.
Mm.
It was like crazy, like mixing, mastering.
A lot of refinement.
It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of hard work.
It's because I actually don't know how to play guitar. Shut up. You just take one note and pitch shift it and auto tune and just. It's all a lie.
You see, no auto tune for this band, man. We don't need auto tune.
What are you lying for, G? No, just kidding.
We're not like some fucking Nicki Minaj or something.
Well, I commend you on like doing the mastering for like all those takes, because I've, as I said before, doing the I've been doing the starting to do mixing myself, and I couldn't not imagine all the
easy,
time.
Right?
Yeah, it's not easy starting off.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But if you like it, like for me at least, it's just because I like doing so. You know, like I love like audio, everything that involves audio, like, you know, everything, man, everything, like guitars, everything, whatever. I just mix.
Sorry. When you were saying that in my head, I just heard myself saying, turn it up to 10. But G is really good with really, like, fine details.
Levels.
Like, G's like, you know, if we just take that down, like, 0.1 and everything sings. And I'm like, how did you know that? G's like, I just know. So, yeah, G did a lot of great work with the mix, the master, getting the right sounds, right drum sounds. Nomi's really good with tone, too.
Really good.
Just getting the right guitar sounds, making it sound like it's sizzly bacon, if that makes sense. That's what I think. It's got to sound like bacon frying that sound. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of EQ.
Yeah. EQ on EQ on EQ.
Yeah. So you gave me a little like an overall description of the album and then each of the tracks. So it's really thought out, like there's like philosophies or concepts you're trying to convey in the album. Overall, what is it, or is this album a concept album, or what do you try to focus on for the audience to catch in terms of the theme?
I wouldn't say the album is a concept album. I think each song has its own concept. So it wasn't written in a way where it's like, okay, we're going to take this concept and sort of write songs around it. I think it was because the album has been written at various different times in sort of our band's career so far, that all these concepts were sort of important to us at those times. And then there's concepts like you'll see on like Circadian Zenith and Ida Trimurti, where these are just, you know, things that we're inspired and influenced by, and sort of they just sound really cool, or they just, you know, it's there's certain riffs that we're playing and the sections that we're writing, and we're like, what does this sound like? What is this sound? You know, like, okay, it sounds a bit like this, and sort of, you know, we sort of almost like research our own music and thoughts and sort of try and reverse engineer where it really came from. Because you can't always analyze your thought because it just occurs to you, like, you know, like if it's a burn or you feel cold, you don't really analyze what the source is. You just sort of analyze, oh, I'm feeling this. But to go back to the source, I think that's where most of our concepts came from. So for me, like each song is its own concept. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say that like you're gonna see like songs that are like 8 or 9 minutes long. But it's like a story, you know. Yeah. It's not just like a song. So that's what you have to. At least for me, it's something that I have to have in mind. Like when you listen to it, it's gonna be something that it's gonna tell you something, you know. Like just, you know, I don't know, man. Like listen to it, close your eyes, listen to it, and you're gonna go to hell, but then you're gonna go to heaven. Then you're gonna come to earth again. You know, it's just something that's gonna it has this like pull and push, which is pretty cool.
An ebb and flow between states.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't a concept album. It was a concept album for the three of us. Like, I think for the three of us, Fortis Rebis is significant of, strength together. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like we thought it out. It's kind of representative of what we feel together. Right?
I mean, it's almost as if all our energies sort of surprised each other, because we all sort of come from different trains of thought, and we all have our own energy components. And a lot of times, to harness that into, one ball of energy, it can become challenging because it can oppose itself too. So the reason why we came up with this album name is, even though we have energies and strengths that may not be the same, they may be opposing, we were able to channel them into one sort of energy component where it all works together. It just all spins together in one cycle.
Yeah, cool if I talk about Rebis.
Yeah.
So the Rebis is like the alchemical composition of two opposites to make like something greater. It's like Philosopher's Stone. So coming back to the of Lark. Yes, of Lark. Of Dart. We sound like a country band now. Of Lark.
Of Lard and of Smite.
Of Lard and Smite. Sounds like a bad Thanksgiving. So it's like coming back to the of Dark and of Light. The Rebis, this album for me, and I think for us, was the center again, finding the center, the combination of the three of us and the light and the dark, to make something better than just us by ourselves, right? Because I know if it was just me, I wouldn't be able to do this. If it was just Nomi or just G, but the three of us, I think, is the perfect trifecta, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about each track in turn? Because some of the themes behind, what you came up with for these songs is very interesting, and I guess it's also talks to what you guys believe in, just as like human beings.
Nomi, G.
I didn't get a kind of
Each one of the songs and the themes behind it.
Oh, okay. No, you guys go for that.
Do you want to take some and I'll take some? Which one? Are you interested in a specific one?
I mean,
we
put it
could
this
talk
way.
to them?
This could be like a
Nicholas,
5-hour
Yeah.
This is going to be a essay if we go through this, right?
This is going to be a 6-part podcast.
Nomi will be like, you see, it was May the 3rd. The wind was blowing northwesterly, and I had a thought to call Robbie. No, I think we should just do a little brief.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you talk about the single, I'm going to say this wrong, Circadian Zenith. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're too Prague.
So, funny thing about the single, a little bit of trivia here is the single was the last song we wrote on the album. And I think it was actually the first song that we wrote sort of together as well.
And it was the hardest one.
And it was the most difficult song. Editing that song was very much a nightmare. But as you can listen to it now, the refined version of Circadian Zenith, it flows like beautifully through each one of its sections. So I mean, Circadian Zenith is like it's the whole concept behind it is circadian, which is the rhythm of the human body, and
yes,
and how it's never changing, and it's sort of like it's just something that keeps you grounded. And the whole idea behind Circadian Zenith was sort of finding that point where you can break this rhythm, but at the same time be at balance, be at level. I mean,
we did it.
Yeah.
That was only 20 seconds.
That's a record, bro.
Yeah.
That's a record.
So I mean, this is the very, very summarized version of this track, and so that's pretty much the main concept behind it. And I think, funny enough, a lot of people released songs with the name Circadia or Circadian around this time, and we were kind of surprised that it's just like, what's happening?
Not naming names.
Yeah, not calling any names. But we were surprised and like, oh my god, this guy already released it with his name.
So we hang on their coattails. We're like, they use the same name. We added a word to it. So,
but at the same time, it's like this concept is just getting more and more recognized within and it's all been in Prague bands.
To be fair, we thought of the name, but we're not going to contest.
Yeah,
Get a cease and desist in the mail. No. Some small prog band. Stop it.
Or one other track that I did really grip me, because I myself, as a bass clarinet person and just in general, like I really gravitate to melody. I did like the last track, the Tremurti.
We're so prog.
The Tremurti.
Yeah. That's where G and I joke. It's like that's Nomi's part. He's like I picture Nomi as like an eagle flying, and that solo is just and that's just so that's Nomi's Nomi's
actually
part.
Like another Pro Tools project. This part is called Nomi the Eagle.
Yeah. Nomi's just in slow motion.
That's the part you heard. Yeah.
So what is the concept for that?
Nomi the Eagle.
So, Robbie's very inspired with like Buddhism and stuff like that, and we've always sort of kind of had a debate about like how can we introduce a concept like this without sort of like alienating each other's philosophies.
I wouldn't say Buddhism though. I'd say just chilling myself the fuck out.
The Om philosophy.
Yeah, it's like when you feel stressed, take a breath. CBD. Yeah, who needs meditation when you can just smoke CBD, right? No, what about both at the same time? You go to another realm. No, but I wouldn't say I'm into like Buddhism where I'm
like
gonna
the philosophies. Yeah,
but I agree with the philosophies. Of the passive side, which is hard to do.
Yeah, so I think this song, because it was one of our longer songs with more passages in it, and it's definitely had a story theme with it. So what was very fitting about it, like when we were writing it, we were always writing riffs and parts in threes. It's almost like this thing had three heads, and the Trimurti is like basically a Hindu god with three heads. With three heads. So I'll be quick with this. So, and this god, like each god represents a certain entity. So one of them is the creator, one of them is the destroyer, and one of them is the preserver.
Time's up.
And so, I mean, when we thought about the concept where we're like, that's like every human being, we are able to create our own destinies. We're able to, manifest all these powers and destinies and like achieve these goals and conquer challenges. And then at the same time, we have the power to tear it all down and just destroy it, or destroy who comes in our way kind of thing, or destroy our own lives. And at the end of it, when you realize what's created has been destroyed, you sort of just want to collect whatever pieces are left and you want to preserve that. So it's really a song about human nature and a lot of things that people don't see about themselves, that they have the ability to do all this. So I think it's just sort of an exercise in that, which is the concept behind that track.
Yeah, like I connect with that. Like,
disagrees. All right.
So the part you heard, the sample that you heard is more so a preservation piece.
Whenever we play that part live, for me it sounds like a garden in heaven. It's just there's this ethereal like feeling to it that's really spacey and nice that I like.
Yeah, you see, like for him it's that, for Nomi it's like something more like neutral, and for me it's all black.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
Yeah.
there we go.
There. We can mix it. We can find the gray center. Just play blast beats. On that part.
Yeah. I think the good thing about it is we look at a glass. We don't ever look at it from the same perspective or same angle. We all see something different.
Yeah, then you're able to like
I see
put
vodka,
those thoughts together.
Yeah. And I mean, all those thoughts can be different sections, and they just come together.
Yeah.
Each one's perspective.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess we can go much deeper into the album and all the other tracks, but I think we'll leave that there for our good audience.
Yeah.
Or I guess, is there anything meaningful you want to let us know about the album before we wrap up our interview today?
Please give us money.
Bro, just listen to it. Like, we gave literally all of our energy to that.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't easy. I'm really grateful for everything that we've accomplished at this point. So just, please go and take a listen to it. I'm pretty sure like people are gonna love it. And I'm not just saying that because like our band, it's not that, but it was put like a lot of effort there, a lot of emotions and everything. So I think it's just something that even people that don't listen to metal, I think they're gonna like it. To be honest, it's something different. It's something that makes people think. So yeah.
Yeah, we've added like strings and violins and all these chanting, these chanting sounds, and I think when people actually listen to the whole album, they're gonna realize what we're talking about. They're gonna I feel like we're going to connect with a lot of different kinds of listeners with this album. It's not just going to be prog metal. Yeah. It has the capability to reach out to all different kinds of listeners.
I think if there's one thing I want to say, I hope that, like you two said, that it connects with people and people can listen to it and maybe find strength in times where they feel really or feel good or listen to something that's like the end of Ida Trimurti when they're feeling good, like just something that bridges the gap between human beings and is like a communication of what's the word I'm looking for, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like a symbol of like,
you can, like, when you're feeling hopeless, you can listen to any song in there. When you're feeling a sense of calm, you can listen to songs in there. When you're feeling sort of beaten down and angry and pissed off, you can listen to some of the songs there. And I think all our songs have the ability to just level you.
Yeah, and I think all the good music that I've ever listened to does that.
Yeah.
If I've ever had a bad time, I'll listen to this and be like, you know what? I can kind of purge myself of things, in that time. So I hope that does the same thing for people listening to it.
Cathartism. Basically.
Cathartism?
Yeah.
It's very cathartic.
It's a cathartic album. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope that a new album, this new music of yours connects with a lot of people. I'm excited to hear the whole rest of it.
There was only one song, sorry. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
It's played 6 different ways.
We played the long con.
So why don't we start wrapping up our time together? What are the future plans for you guys and the band? Like, how are you going to keep this momentum going?
Damn. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think kind of depends on, everything that is being happening. Like, one thing that I suggested to the guys is that, we keep just like making music, and at least for now, that we cannot like play live or anything, at least in Toronto, I guess. Maybe like around we can, but anyways, like
maybe in the States we can.
Yeah, let's go to New York, bro. Well,
let's go.
So yeah, like for me, it's more about like shaping up everything and just making the best we can on everything that we've done at this point. And like make sure we're ready to hit the stages and everything with all as powerful as possible as we can. Like I have like a few ideas together with the guys, of course. And for me at least, like if we can play a show now, it's gonna be something that people they won't forget, man.
Yeah, so I think next steps definitely, like G mentioned, stage readiness is a big one, and to play this album live, it's going to require basically like the way the album's produced. I think our show, our whole set is going to be produced the same way, because we want to be able to bring the same vibe to people live and just bring the album to life that way. So that's definitely one thing that in our plans. And we're not really fully done sort of promoting this album. So this is just like the first few steps. We are sorry about that. So we are also we're thinking about when things get better. We're also thinking about recording videos and stuff for it. And there's some stuff that it's in discussion. It's in the works. And other than that, all the elements that sort of revolve around the album, we're going to finish this whole cycle and continue writing more music. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with both of them. Obviously, if I disagreed, that'd be bad.
He has no choice.
You're out of the band, bro.
He has none in my head.
He has no choice.
No, but I have lots of faith in everything, because we can come together and make this album sound really kick-ass. And I know that every meeting we have and every goal that we have, we're just going to obliterate it, crush it, because we're all on the same page, So whatever happens next, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. How can our good sentries, our audience, support you and find your music?
We have bank accounts, and please, for just $1 a day, you can feed a very hungry Robbie.
Do you want to mention where people can get our album?
Yeah, sure. Like you actually can get our album. Like the single is out there like everywhere, of course, at this point. But on next Friday, midnight, local time, everywhere in the world, you can get our album. If you want to support us, you can go to the I forgot the name of the link, like COVID-19, like something, whatever.
On Spotify.
Yeah, on Spotify.
Spotify.
Or SoundCloud, or even better, like we don't really want to get any money like for free. Just go and get our album, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe Robbie was, but I don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can find our band, our album on Bandcamp, and
Apple Music,
everywhere.
Spotify.
But if you wanna, just support us, go to Bandcamp and buy the album, which is really cheap. It's like $6.99.
Yeah, I think Bandcamp is the best bargain, and they also support artists very well. And other than that, wherever people like getting their music from, it's available for them.
Yeah, exactly.
We went through DistroKid, and we made sure their distribution is amazing.
Or just come to our shows once we're all allowed. That's what it's about. It's about sharing the experience.
Yeah.
And money. I'm just kidding.
Maybe you can see me dying playing the drums,
Yeah, we'll have the paramedics off stage.
Yeah, please.
Clear.
I'll need them.
And then G starts blasting.
Yeah. If you want to see the most insane drumming in action, you got to come to the show.
Yep.
Yes, I still have to see you guys live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be something to look forward to after the pandemic, for sure.
Well, our Guelph show was very memorable for us when we were in town.
The sound was really good.
Yeah.
Our last question for you guys. What are your words of wisdom?
Don't lose hope.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, I don't know, man. I'm just saying. That's what I've been doing for this entire year, so,
Yeah, I think for me, I would just say perseverance and resilience. Same along the lines of not losing hope. Just keep pushing and just don't give up.
We're like a moral support group.
Yeah,
the three of us. I would say you should never care what people think of you, and you shouldn't really force yourself to conform into a mold that society expects you to be. You should just do whatever the you want to do.
Be yourself.
Because at the end of the day, like, you're the one who has to die when it's your time to die. So you should live your life now, not hold yourself back. If that makes sense. So that's our support group.
Fear of death.
Yeah.
Hear that warm comfort from you guys.
Hey, coming back to the constant perpetual march towards the void.
Yeah.
Live life now, not later, because there's no later.
Don't screw up anybody.
Yeah. Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Stay in school.
Kids.
What else?
Honesty is the best policy.
You can tell them how the taxes work, maybe. They never did in school, so might as well now.
I think that's good, guys. Very, very good. Very good. Robbie, Nomi, G, thank you for this time, having this audience with you. With you. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
man.
for having us. Yeah.